Take it. Okay. Great. So, welcome to the second meeting of um, the Centurion online chapter of the public speakers. And everything seems to be in order. So, I hereby declare this meeting in session. Okay. So we've now opened the meeting officially. Okay. And welcome guests and okay. So, there's no members except myself. So, a big welcome to Carol for joining us. Carol is a guest. Um, okay, and okay, and then we're just going to do the roles of okay. We've got the roles of timekeeper. So um, the timekeeper keeps the times. So they have like a little um, three cards: red, amber, and green. And say, for example, a speech is 4 to 6 minutes. When you get to 4 minutes, put the green up. So by green, it means you've reached the minimum length of time for the speech. And then when you get to midway between that to 5 minutes, you put the amber up, which tells the speaker that they should start um, rounding things off. And when you get the red flag or the red card or the red light, whatever it is, it means your time is up and you have to finish as quick as you can. Okay. So those are the timekeeper keeps those times. It just makes a note of it. Okay. If you have any questions at any time, you can just interrupt me, put your hand up or something like that, and we'll just sort it out. Okay. Um, okay. And then we have somebody who looks, we call the grammarian. Okay, it's just a volunteer position. So the grammarian is that person who goes around and just checks that the grammar is okay. And there's somebody else, we call it crutch words. It's ims and ahs and yeah, and some people, while they talk, they just say yeah, yeah, and they say a few more words, yeah, yeah, you know. So we call these crutch words. So it's just about the crutch words. Yeah, it's actually quite funny, but so it's just to make a note of the crutch words. We're not trying to break people down, but just to help them to speak better. And if they become aware that they're using crutch words like maybe it's something like ish, and they keep saying ish, ish, you just tell them, look, there's your crutch word, try not to use it, and then they just speak a little bit better. Okay, and then the leadership roles in the chapter. Okay, so we don't actually have um, at this point in time, we don't actually have a leaders defined in the chapter. But just to very quickly just tell you what they are, we get the Master of Ceremonies, which is myself, then the chapter CEO, the chapter secretary treasurer, and then you get the membership committee, which consists of the chapter CEO and 4 officers. Then you get the mentor supervisor. We're supposed to have 10 mentors. So everybody's going to get a mentor. And you get the hosting supervisor, the education supervisor, and the public relations supervisor. And then if you look at the membership committee, so that consists of the chapter CEO. He's basically the second in charge of the chapter. And then there's a growth officer, the conflict officer, the performance officer, and the quality assurance officer. And so what happens when they have the membership committee meeting, then it's those 5, the chapter CEO, and those 4 officers. Okay. So yeah, let me just get back to my Zoom meeting there. Okay. Okay. So so basically those are the role, that's a role roundup, but usually we would say, and this person takes that role, that person takes that role, and so on. Okay, we're not going to do that today. And then the grammarian would come with the word of the day, and that could be anything. Um, like, for example, let's say the word of today is properly. So whenever you're talking, whatever you say, try and bring in the word properly somewhere. And properly means that it's done properly. There's no shortcuts taken. It's done properly, for example. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, gender changes. Okay, Melissa Imani is not with us tonight, so she's not going to do a speech. So I think I'll just do some ad hoc little inserts there. And then we're going to do the elevator speeches, and that is 30 to 60 minutes. And basically, how it works is you're going to say, um, hello, my name is Frederick Pochenpoel, for example, and I am a plumber. I love doing all sorts of things with plumbing, drains, toilets, new installations. I can put in your new taps and that type of stuff. So if you have any plumbing needs, then come to me. And then the next person stands up and they say, hello, my name is um, Julian Bream, and I play the classical guitar, and etc. Okay. So any questions about the um, elevator speech?
None so far, no.
Okay. So the idea of the elevator speech, the elevator is that lift. So you go up in the elevator and you get in the elevator on the ground floor, and you're going up to the 10th floor, for example, and you've got 30 seconds to give your pitch to somebody in the lift, because when the doors open, it's gone. The opportunity is gone. So it's practicing that 30 seconds. You've got 30 seconds to tell them something and get them to agree to a meeting or something like that. So basically, it's a short pitch, a lot of pressure, but just be relaxed when you do it. Okay. So should we give it a go? The elevator speeches. Um, would you like to start, Carol?
Okay, then. For the moment, not. I haven't really prepared anything. I see there's an apology from Andrew, and that other lady, she normally joined us late, Malamani or something like that. I see there's an
Yes.
apology from.
Okay.
I haven't really prepared anything, I must say. The lady gave a very nice speech last week. Hey, I noticed her elevator speech was very nice. Yeah, I haven't really prepared anything, I must say.
Okay. So you can practice it now because we're not many on. So you just say, "Hello, my name is Carol," and then the business that you do, or the business or service that you want to promote, you just say, I do this, and then just give us some information in that, and how do we contact you if we want that product or service.
Okay. Hello, so I'm Carol. My line of business is academic editing, and a very quick way to contact me is just by, yes, my business card. I can give it you now. The email address is on there, creativecommunication@mail.com. And I do a lot of work with universities. And so I'm established and experienced. Thank you.
Thank you. No, that was great. Yes. Okay. So, so it's my turn for the 30-second elevator speech. So we're going to say, hi, okay, my name is Frans de Vent here, and I run with a little publication called Cup of Tea. It used to be Coffee News, but we've got a different franchise now, and it's Cup of Tea. It works almost the same. So what happens there is it's a weekly publication. It's a restaurant publication, very popular, and every copy, each new publication each week, on average, statistics show that 5 to 7 people read this publication. So if you want your ad to be read, if you want the ad to get more views and to be read more, then advertise in cup of tea, cup of tea. So if you want your advert to receive more views, then advertise in cup of tea. Okay. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the elevator speeches. Okay. And then the toast of own choice. Okay, I think we can skip that
Is this
one.
a real publication or is it just, sorry, did you make this up or is it, do you really have a publication? Or did you just make it
I,
up as an example?
no, I really do have the publication. It was
Oh, I
Coffee
see.
News. So it's
Oh,
similar to Coffee News. And you can see it's got, it's a A4, three sheet,
cheap.
and it's on
Yes,
both
that's what
sides.
yes.
And it's in a
Oh.
restaurant, it's just on the counter like that. You just take one, it's free. And
Do you have a link for it, that where a person can get it or because it's physical, you can't give a link or whatever?
yeah, so at this point in time, we don't have a link. So when you're
Okay.
waiting for your food, you just pick it up and read it. So
Nice.
typically you read the menus and you read the cup of tea or coffee news. So
It's
basically
excellent
that's how
idea.
it works.
Excellent idea.
And then you read the editorials, the local news, and your eyes fall to the adverts and you read the adverts. So,
Of course, of course.
and it's actually proven to be extremely effective. It uplifts businesses that are not doing so well. It just gets them a lot more business. And of course, you eliminate your competition because it's exclusive. Once you've got a plumber or academic editor or something like that, you can't have another one. So you eliminate your competition. Okay, so the education segment. Okay, so I just think we'd have some more people today. So I'm just going to give a talk on speech structures again, I think, um, for the academic, because it's so important to get our speech structures right. So let me just share the screen there. Okay, speech structures. Yeah. Okay. So can you see the screen? Okay, so basically in a nutshell, um, so what we're saying with the speech structures, um, there's basically four parts to a speech structure. Is the first part, and this is very important, is the title of your speech, and then you have the opening, the body, and the conclusion. So in a nutshell, to give a speech, and I think I've got a slide for this. In your opening, you tell your audience what you're going to tell them. And then in the body of your speech, you tell your audience what you want to tell them, breaking it up into one or more components. Typically, it's three components. And then in the conclusion, you tell your audience what you have just told them about. Okay, I see you can see the okay. So, but it's a little bit more complicated like that. But if you just keep in the back of your mind the three components, okay, you got the title of your speech, but you just tell them what you're going to tell them about. You tell them about it, and in conclusion, you tell them what you just told them. I know it sounds funny, it's an oversimplification, but if you just do that, then you've got your speech structure laid out. Okay, so the title, you have to have a good title to speak about, a good subject to speak about, and after you've chosen your subject, you'll choose the title that really makes your speech pop. Spend a lot of time on choosing your title because this is the key element of your speech. Sometimes just the title will entice people to listen to your speech because the title is interesting. So that is very important. Yeah. Okay. So in the opening, so what's happening? The master of ceremonies has called the speaker to the front and introduced the speaker and told them what the title of their speech and so on. And then when the speaker starts, the first thing the speaker is going to do is they're going to thank the MC for the introduction and maybe the chapter members and the guests as well. And the second aspect of the opening is you need to capture the audience's attention So this is your chance to grab the audience's attention. So prepare something about yourself that will capture their attention and their interest. Something stunning or that I didn't know, just something to, wow, boom, okay, just sort of pull them into your speech. And then introduce yourself, give a brief introduction of yourself, very few words, as few words as you can. And then you want to have a transition between the opening and the body of the speech. And this is a brief statement to transition into the body. And listen to this. In this transition, you tell your audience what you are going to talk about. Tell your audience what you're going to talk about. That's in your transition. But just very briefly. And then in the body of your speech, okay, in this case, I've divided the speech into 3 components, but it can be anywhere from 1 to 10 components. It depends on you. But 3 components seems to work nicely. So component 1, this is the first thing that you're going to be talking about. Treat it as a separate set of statements illustrating the component that you're talking about. And then you have a transition, a sentence or 2 to transition from component 1 to component 2. And to put that in a nutshell, you tell them what you are going to talk about next. You could even say, and next I'm going to tell you about component 2, whatever that is. And then in component 2, this is the second thing that you're going to be talking about. Treat it again as a self-contained unit that you'll be sharing, and then a transition, and I think you already guess it, a sentence or 2 to transition from component 2 to component 3. Tell them what you're going to talk about next. And then the third component, so this is the third thing you're going to be talking about, and this is the last set of sentences in your speech. Obviously, you're not limited to 3 components. You can have from 1 to 10 or as many as you like. And then the transition. Now, this transition is very important because you're going to transition from component 3 to your conclusion. So this transition has to do a lot of stuff. It has to alert your audience that the speech is coming towards a close. So you need to tell them that you're about to close. And you can, for example, to do this transition, you could just say, and in closing, and then you go into your closing or your conclusion. So in the conclusion, you briefly restate the main points of your speech. This could involve a keyword. You could just say 3 keywords and you've done it, or 3 phrases or sentences, 1 from each of your 3 components. But very important, make sure that you do not bring any new material in your conclusion. You only speak about what you've already spoken about, and you're just going to say, I spoke about A, B, and C. Just tell them what you spoke about. Tell them, look, I spoke about A, B, and C. And then close with impact. The conclusion may be all that some people remember about your speech. Now, that could be a shock. But so this last final words has to be absolutely stunning because maybe that's all they remember. So spend some time preparing these last few words, preferably just 1 or 2 sentences, and that's all you have to do. And so you've said that conclusion, that closed, and you've stunned your audience. They're all like, wow, never saw that coming. And then you hand control back to the master of ceremonies, and you could just simply say, master of ceremonies, and he will come and take the microphone from you and you'll walk off the stage. So that is a speech in a structure, in a nutshell.
Okay, great.
Okay, any questions there, Carol?
No, that's actually quite clear, I have to say. Very well and put, and very, especially with the transitioning, that's important. And the final sentence that people will remember,
Yes. So, maybe they're not listening properly because you haven't really got their attention, but they'll remember the final words. And if those words are weak, then your whole speech was like, so end with that punchline. Oof. And at least I remember that, sure. And tell them what you're gonna tell them about. Tell them about it and tell them what you told them about and master master of ceremonies. So yeah, so basically if you get that basic speech structure, your speech is going to be quite a bit nicer. Okay, so that was an education segment. And Melissa Marnie was going to give a speech, okay, but she's not here now. And so I'm going to give sort of a prepared segment. Okay, it's not really a speech, but I'm just going to take the time that we would have spent on the speech and talk about something else. Okay, so what I'm going to speak about is okay. I think let me speak about the network mine and the structure. Okay, so I'm just going to share this. Okay, you should be able to see this now. It says
Network
network
access,
mine.
public speaking. Yes.
Okay, public speaking. So, so this is designed in such a way that the network mine, business networking, and the network mine, public speaking, have basically exactly the same structure because the structure is perfect for both of them. Okay, so this is the public speaking side. Okay, so this is our second meeting, 18th of March 2026. Welcome to everybody and thank you for attending. Some people are going to listen to this afterwards, and that's also okay. Okay, so Network Mine is a global business networking organization. So Network Mine is a franchise. It's not a charity like Toastmasters is a charity, but Network Mine is a franchise. Okay. So to talk about leadership positions, you get global leadership, region and province leadership. Okay. Province is not necessary. It's really just global and region. Now, these positions are salaried positions. If you become something in the province or the region, then you're actually going to get paid a salary, which is awesome, I think. Yeah. It might be more like a contract, but you're going to get paid. Yeah. So the global leadership positions is only three: the CEO, the CFO, and the COO. CEO, Chief Executive Officer, Chief Financial Officer, and Chief Operations Officer. And then you get six possible positions in the region. You get the region director, but you could have many region directors. That's why we say directors. The region directors, it depends how big the
Okay.
structure becomes. The area directors. So the area directors will look after, let's say, like five um, chapters. So there'd be a lot of area directors. Let's say for every five area directors, there'll be like one region director. And for every area director, you'll have like five chapters. And then you get the quality assurance directors, the operations directors, training directors, and the growth directors. And then in the provincial or the province leadership roles, okay, these are optional roles. So we'll mention the province as sort of a classification structure, unless it becomes necessary that the work is too much for the region and we need to appoint provincial um, leadership roles. Okay. So they assist the region roles. So you get provincial directors, provincial quality assurance directors, provincial operations directors, provincial training directors, and provincial growth directors. Okay. And then if you come to a chapter, now we are a chapter, like a club in a way, that we call it a chapter. So we ideally would be about 30 members, 25 to 30 members, okay? But we're still moving towards that. This is just our second meeting, so we're going to get there. So there are 7 leadership roles in a chapter, and then there are 4 committee member roles. So in other words, we've got 11 non-salaried leadership roles. So you take on this leadership role and you don't get paid for it because it's on the chapter level, because you're helping your chapter. Does that make sense? You're helping your chapter to function.
Yes, it does.
Yes. And at the same time, you're learning these leadership skills. Like a chapter MC, the master of ceremonies, they are in great demand out there in the market. A master of ceremonies is a wedding or a big occasion or that. You want to get a really good master of ceremonies. Well, this is how you learn to become a master of ceremonies. Okay. A chapter CEO, in a way, it's like learning to be a CEO of a company. So it's also a very important leadership skill that you're going to learn. And then you get the chapter secretary and treasurer. So the secretary and treasurer, we've rolled into one role. Okay, I know in other clubs they may have separate roles, but we put them into one. So it says a lot of work that the chapter secretary treasurer has to do. And then we get the membership committee. So, and that consists of the chapter CEO and 4 officers. But then we get some very important leadership roles as well. The mentor supervisor, he would be in charge of about 10 mentors, and you've got to make sure that everybody in the chapter has a mentor, which is great. So you're not by yourself. The mentor is going to help you to progress. Okay. The hosting supervisor, when we host a big meeting and you get visitors and guests, they are to look after those visitors and guests and make sure they understand everything. Okay, we don't have many members right now, so we don't really need that. The education supervisor, because there's a lot of education stuff that you need to study, and we'll talk a little bit about that just now. And so the education supervisor has got to take each person in the chapter and he's got to look at their education path, what they'd like to achieve, and really to sort of help them to achieve their goals. And then the public relations supervisor just to promote the chapter. Okay. And now let's look at the membership committee. It's a CEO chairs the committee, the growth officer, conflict officer, performance officer, and quality assurance officer. So they're going to say, okay, these members can join and those members can't join because we want a very high quality club or chapter. So the growth officer speaks about strategies so that the chapter can grow or maybe split into 2 chapters. The conflict officer, because you know what people are like, there's going to be arguments. So the conflict officer has got to sort that out. The performance officer is to look at how the chapter is performing as a whole. Are they reaching the education goals and those type of things? Do they have mentors? And the quality assurance officer is to look at the quality of the club or of the chapter and the quality experience of each member in the chapter. Are they feeling that they're really progressing and learning something? Okay, so there's the structure. So after every meeting, the membership committee meets for a few minutes, and once a month, the chapter MC and chapter CEO run the chapter's progress meeting. So that is to determine how the chapter is progressing, what can they do to improve it. And in this case, all the leadership people have to come together for that meeting. And now this is the great thing. Anybody who refers a member to Network Mind, and it could be the in-person, the online, or the public speaking, will receive a 10% of the total money that the new member paid for membership. So say, for example, the price is 5,000 Rand, but you decided to give it to them for 1,000 Rand. So you get 10% of that, which is 100 Rand, and you can put that towards paying your own membership.
Yes, of
So
course.
so it's a way to make extra money. So you're going to bring, so to each meeting, and you can start doing this before you're a member. As a guest, you can bring other guests. You must just get them to fill in the guest register and to say that you referred them. Or afterwards, if you're not sure if they did, you can come and speak to us, to me, or one of the other leadership roles. Right now, it's just me, and say that, okay, this person, their name, I referred them, okay, and if they sign up and pay, then you're going to get that money. So a little bit of extra money, which is quite nice, okay. And then there's another thing where there's a lot more money that you can make. We call it the skilled speaker training program. Okay. So what this skilled speaker training program is all about is we go to a company or a school. Typically companies are more, they have more money to spend. And we say to them, okay, we're going to give you like an 8-week training program. And for each delegate, it's going to be like 5,000 Rand, for example. And maybe they've got 20 people that they want to do that. And so that will be in total 100,000 Rand. And then if you arrange a skilled speaker training program, in other words, you manage to speak to the company and you get them to agree to it and to pay us for the training, then you get 50% of the fees. So if they've paid 100,000 Rand, then you get 50,000 Rand. So if you need extra cash, you've got to do the skilled speaker training. But how do you learn to do that? And that is through the training. Okay. So we're going to train you as a member of Network Mind Public Speaking to actually get to that level where you can be a skilled speaker facilitator or trainer and be able to earn that extra money. But it's even better than that, because the deal you make with the company could be that those 20 people are all going to sign up with the chapter afterwards at 5,000 Rand each. There's another 50,000 Rand, and you'll get half of that, so that's 25,000. So after 8 weeks, 2 months, you could easily get 75,000 Rand from that if you can do the skilled speaker program. So I'd really say that is something you need to work towards. Um, by the time you can run that skilled speaker program, you'll be a really good professional speaker, and earning that type of money is definitely worthwhile. It's once a week for about 1 or 2 hours for 8 weeks. So it's not that much work. Okay. But you need the skill to do it. That's the only thing. Yeah. Okay. So let's look at the training. There's 11 leadership roles. You need to do the training for all of them. And if you want to get a region or province position, you need to have done all those 11 leadership role training. Okay. And then you can do training in timekeeping, grammarian, crutch words. And then, of course, training as a speaker and a speech evaluator. As the public speaking chapter, most of our training is going to be as a speaker and speech evaluator. And then you get training as a master of ceremonies, and also training in referring people and receiving referrals. Okay, so there's a lot of training just there. Okay. I'll go more into the speakership training, the speaker training. There's
Okay.
basically, you get the associate level. There's 10 projects that you do, and you become an associate public speaker. And then there's another 10 projects. Okay, I'm just calling them projects, but they're not easy. 10 big projects, let's put it that way. And it culminates in a speech. So you do the whole project, and then you give a speech at the end. And when you've done that, then you're on the licentiate level, and you may have to do a few of them over a few times. And then once you've done that, there's basically another 5 projects, which are also quite difficult. And then there's the skilled speaker, and there's all sorts of tricky things that you need to learn and do. You need to lead a voluntary team, but there's a lot of options. You're not stuck doing just one. But once you've got through all of that stuff, and it's not going to be quick, it's going to take you a year or two to do it, then you become a fellow. So you get a fellowship certificate as a public speaker. Okay. And then one of the things we can also do is, in that final fellowship program, is to become a certified public speaker. But yeah, that's a little bit into the future. But that is the top level. Once you're a certified public speaker, you'll actually be an incredibly good public speaker, and people will be wanting you to speak at all sorts of occasions, and you'll get a certificate as well. You'll be a fellow, and it's basically a fellowship is the equivalent of a master's degree, but more sort of the practical side than the academic side, but it's not recognized academically. So it's a certificate that we give you, but it doesn't carry it's not registered with SAQA or anything like that. But you can just know personally it will be on that level. And of course, if you join a company with the leadership skills and the public speaking skills, you're an asset to any company. I mean, you look at a boardroom meeting, they need people who can speak, organize the meeting, and explain things, and that's what you have learned. Okay, so it's a very valuable training, actually. Okay, and now we have a cup of tea partnership. Okay, so to advertising cup of tea is 600 Rand a week, which is actually, it's very cost effective. But a year, which is 52 weeks, is 28,000 Rand basically. But if you're a member of Network Mind, a speaker or a business networker, it doesn't matter, you get a 10,000 Rand discount. So instead of paying 28,000, you're only going to pay 18,000. Okay. And if you sign a 6-month advertising contract with Cup of Tea, which is about 14,800, you get a 5,000 Rand discount. So 14,800 minus 5,000 Rand, it comes to 9,800. So that's also good. Now, Cup of Tea advertising is very affordable and effective. So it uplifts your business. And while you're doing that, you can become a great public speaker, can maybe even advertise yourself as a master of ceremonies in cup of tea. Okay. And then you all ask, how do we use the membership money? Okay. The software systems, we need software systems to run this whole system. And that comes to close to about 50,000 Rand per month for software development, because like you have software developers, you need a whole team, and they all want quite a big salary. And so, yeah, so that's like a skeleton staff almost, 50,000 Rand per month. Plus, it's going to cost you at least 10,000 Rands per month to host the software and to maintain the systems. And then also to pay the global, region, and provincial leaders their monthly salaries or monies, and ongoing research and development to improve Network Mind and make your return on investment even bigger. Plus, there's various other operating expenses. So there is a franchising opportunity, and there's actually 2 franchising opportunities. There's one with Network Mind, and there's one with Cup of Tea. Do you want to run a Network Mind, business networking and public speaking, or do you want to run a advertising publication? Okay, so if you're interested, you can ask me about that afterwards. And questions and answers. Any questions and answers?
Okay, I'll do that, but for the moment, it's okay.
Yeah, okay. We can talk about that afterwards. Um, Getting a franchise is not like a quick thing, like 1, 2, 3, 5 minute meeting. So it's going to be
It's
quite a
time, yes.
process. But yeah, it'll be lovely to talk about that. Okay. And I see we at half past, 8. Okay, so we almost a little bit behind time. I think I got carried away a bit with my presentation there. But I think it's good that we can just try and understand how the structure of network mind works. It's
Yes,
very
of course.
important, I think. Okay, and now we get to the impromptu speeches, and we're going to call upon the impromptu master to help us with the impromptu speeches. Okay, so I'll stand in for the impromptu master. So the way an impromptu speech works is the impromptu master will take the center stage. If we're online, they'll just be talking, and they'll paint a scenario about something, and they'll say, okay, um, and then you talk about this, and then you've got 1 to 2 minutes to talk about that, and they call that an impromptu speech. And the way to do it is, to listen very carefully to the little story, and then the impromptu master will say, and Carol, you'll now talk about, and they'll give you a topic, and then you've got 1 to 2 minutes to take it. So don't just start talking straight away. You've got to try and think. So pause a little bit, take a deep breath. You can breathe out, and while you're doing that, your brain is going, you're getting ideas, and then you start talking. Try and stay on the subject as much as you can, but if you can't, it doesn't matter. Just talk about something related. 1 to 2 minutes is very short, and yeah, I've got a timer here. Let me just see here. Okay, I've got a little timer, and we'll just run that timer up
Okay.
until you. Okay. So I'm going to give you a little scenario, and then I'm going to ask you to speak about it. So, okay. So the scenario that I'm going to talk about is um, the University of Pretoria. They have some very bright students in that, and they came up with developing a rocket ship. And I know, like, governments have spent millions of rands developing, or billions actually, developing rocket ships and that. But they came up with a very cheap way of running a rocket ship, and and they just selected a few random people to go up in the rocket. People that you would never think. Housewives and school kids and just random people. And and because it was such a successful project, even Elon Musk became involved in it. And so, Carol, see what you're going to speak about. You get a telephone call from Elon Musk, and he says to you, um, "You've been chosen to go up in this rocket ship, but it leaves Monday next week." Okay, so you're going to talk about how you get ready to leave Monday next week, or maybe how it feels when the ship takes off. And over to Carol, who's going to tell us about how she's preparing to go in this rocket ship and the experiences as it goes up. And give a big hand for Carol.
I'm not sure if I've got this all right, but here we go. So I'm really, really excited and enthralled to tell you that the great Elon Musk has chosen me to go into this first launch of the rocket ship. As we know, he's invested a lot in big brands and is a well-known scientist, celebrity, etc. And he's got the test linked to Tesla, etc. I can hardly believe I'm going. So I'm scrambling around, getting things organized, making sure my deadlines are organized for the time I'll be away. greeting my family. I mean, I know that it's anything might happen, but I could never ever not be part of this historical moment. I'm extremely thrilled. So it doesn't really matter how much I have to run around getting ready. I am excited and I cannot wait for the moment that we launch, that we set off. I'm trembling. I'm really so excited. I really
Okay,
wanted to share
one
this.
one minute.
I really wanted to share this momentous opportunity with you because I know it'll go down in history. You'll see my name in all the papers, but the important thing is that I wanted to share my excitement of this journey with you. So thank you for listening to me and bearing with me. Thank you.
Okay,
So I
a
didn't really
big thank you
prepare
to.
well for that. Sorry about that. I didn't prepare so well for that. Sorry about that.
No, it's an impromptu speech and 1 minute 30 seconds. So you're right in the middle of the 1 to 2 minutes. A big round of applause for Carol with the impromptu speech, and big welcome to Charles Katukwa. So Charles, we're busy doing impromptu speeches, and what's happened was, the University of Pretoria has developed their own very cheap and sustainable rocket, and they're going to fly into space with this. I think they're going to Mars. I'm not 100% sure. And Elon Musk phoned up Carol and said, "Will you be able to leave Monday next week?" And Charles, Elon Musk phoned you as well, and you're also leaving Monday next week.
Mm.
Now, Carol already told us
Okay.
about how she prepared to leave next week. So, Charles, you're going to tell us about the experience you have, like you get into the rocket and you've got this spacesuit on and seat belts and they're counting down from 10. So you're going to tell us about how it feels to take off in a rocket ship. Okay, so um, and over to you, Charles. You can just unmute your mic and you can tell us in 1 to 2 minutes how it feels to take off in a rocket ship. And big round of applause for
Can you
Charles.
hear me? Can you hear me?
Uh,
Hello,
we
can you
can
hear
hear
me?
you. We can hear you. Yes.
No, it's gonna be one of the wonderful experience that we're gonna have at that moment. By just being in that space, just to be part of that journey and to be part of that history, which is quite good. And it's more like a legacy, more or less, on my part. If you can be put down in the history books in terms of just going only to space and all that, it also being it's going to be one of the monumental moments just to be involved in that area. So I'm quite excited. Hoping to experience in that journey, then we can bring also an extra good feedback for other people that are also going to be joining in that area, which is quite nice. I'm happy with that.
Lovely.
Okay, great. Big hand for Charles. You did an excellent impromptu speech, and it was just over 1 minute. Okay, so 1 to 3 minutes. If you get to 1 minute, you get the green light, and you've had a successful impromptu speech. So that was absolutely great. And now it's my turn to give the impromptu speech. And I'm actually impromptu making up the whole story as well. So we've taken off. It's Carol, Charles, and myself are in this rocket, plus a few other astronauts, and it's been an absolutely great experience. But as we've taken off, that they've contacted us and they've said that there's a big problem. Okay, that there's a really big meteorite that's on its way to Earth, and it's so big that it could be like one of these. It's going to change the climate. It might make all life on Earth extinct. It's that size, and we they say there's something that we can do about it. And with that, I'm going to hand over to myself. I'm going to tell you about what we've decided to do. Okay. So we're flying in this rocket, and the takeoff was so beautiful. And then they've contacted us and they've told us that we have to do something about the meteorite. And we have limited things. We have rockets, but if you shoot the rockets into the meteorite, it's going to change the course, but not enough to avoid the Earth. So it's still going to hit the Earth. And so they want us to come up with something else. And I suggested that if we had to fly this rocket ship full speed into the meteorite, would that not be enough of an impact to change it off of its flight path and to save the rest of the Earth? And the scientists got back to us and they said, actually, that would work. If you could do that, it would work. But I'm not in the rocket ship by myself. So, Carol and Charles, would I have your vote that we could fly directly into the meteorite and save the rest of the Earth? But obviously, there's no ejection seats in space, so we would die, I'm sure. Would that be okay with you guys?
Oh, that's a big sacrifice, eh?
It's a big one, yes. And Charles, with you, would you be okay with that?
Yeah, it's a big sacrifice. You can see that that one is a big one there.
Yeah, okay. So we'll have to think about it a little bit, yeah. Okay, it's a terrible sacrifice, yeah. And with that, I'll hand back to the master of ceremonies. Okay. So I spoke for just under 2 minutes. Okay. Anyway, so that was our impromptu speeches, and I think you guys did incredibly well with your impromptu speeches. You really sort of brought some speech structure into it and some creative ideas. And you would almost think, if you listen to those impromptu speeches, that you'd prepared them, but it was impromptu. So well done on that. Yeah. Okay. And then we get to the evaluation feedback. Okay. But we didn't have any speakers today. It was only me who gave the presentation on the structure of the network mine. And I also gave a presentation on for the educational on the structure of a speech. And I think Charles missed that. So Carol, would you like to give me an evaluation of how you think I did with those presentations? You can say, you know, what you liked about it, you know, what I could improve and things like that.
I think that it was really quite exciting that you also mentioned the meteorite. It just gave us an element of excitement, you know. So yeah, being an impromptu speech, it did go really well. Because you couldn't have had a lot of time to prepare, but you were confident and you kept within your time limit. So that was really good. Thank you.
No, thank you, Carol. And Charles, would you like to um, would you like to do Carol's impromptu speech? Would you like to do a evaluation of Carol's impromptu speech?
I didn't hear it, I think. Was it on already?
No, I think yeah, I was. I think I joined a bit
Later.
late.
Yeah.
But
No.
according to what I just said, I think maybe with what Carol's feedback on that area, which means it was quite good. I don't think you need to edify anything because you were speaking everything out of your good heart, which is quite good. So we quite pleased with what you
Okay.
said, and I appreciate that.
Okay, no, thanks a lot, Charles.
Okay, thank you.
And Carol, you heard Charles's speech. Would you like to just give some feedback on Charles's speech?
I have to
Just
say,
an,
I was quite impressed because he just joined and he didn't have a lot of time to catch up or prepare or look over the other slides. So based on that, I was really very impressed because he just ran with it. He didn't hesitate. He didn't go like I did maybe. He didn't go or anything like that. No hesitation. So well done there. I have to say, yeah, I was surprised. That's all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Carol. Yes, and I agree. Charles did very well. He was thinking on his feet, which is what a public speaker needs to do. You're busy speaking about something, and something happens, and you need to deal with that. Change your speech to fit in with that. And so Charles really thought on his feet, which was actually great. And Mondisi has just joined us. Okay, Mondisi, we're busy doing impromptu speeches, and I don't know if you just heard the last part of Charles's impromptu speech. And so basically, what we're going to do is we're going to give you a little story, and you've got 1 to 2 minutes to think to give us a speech. And um, so what happens is I'll give you a little story, and then I'll tell you, and that's what you're going to speak about. And then what you do, you take a deep breath and you breathe out, so your brain is sort of getting ideas, and then you try to speak about that subject for 1 to 2 minutes. Would you like to try that, Mondisi?
Oh, I'm
On the
muted.
same
Hello?
topic, rocket.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm a bit nervous because I just joined now. I had some connection problems.
Oh, okay.
But the
So
topic,
would
will it
you?
be the same? The
Okay.
topic, you haven't given Mandishi the topic. Is it also going to be about the rocket launch or something
But
else?
it'll also be about the rocket ship. Yeah. Do
But
you
he
want to
doesn't
give
have
it
the
a go?
background.
There's just a few of us, and we're all learning. And so, like you might think I'll make a mistake, but then you'll see, like, I'll make a mistake.
Sorry,
And
Franco,
so,
he doesn't know the background about the rocket launch business and Elon Musk. You just give him that background.
okay.
Well,
So let me just give the little story from on DC, and then if you feel comfortable, you can go ahead and give the speech. If you feel it's too much too soon, then we'll understand that as well. So what happened was the University of Pretoria developed this very cheap way to create a rocket ship, and it was so successful that even Elon Musk came into it, and he chose Carol, Charles, and myself to go up in this rocket ship. And Carol spoke about how he prepared to get ready for the rocket ship, and Charles spoke about the experience when we took off, and I spoke about how we had to crash into a meteorite in order to save the Earth. But now what you're going to speak about is something different. That's if you feel like you'd like to take it on, and that's going to be. Let's say that it turned out the meteorite was going to miss the Earth, and so that was okay. But now this rocket ship is on its way to Mars, and it's going to take like 18 months to get there. And can you tell us about the experience of those 18 months just traveling with the rest of us on the way to Mars in this special rocket ship? Okay. Do you want to give it a go, Mondisi?
This
In
is a
1 to 3
very, very,
minutes.
very interesting speech. Man, I'm really sorry. I won't give it a go. I won't be able to give it a go today. Although I
Okay.
must say it's very, very, very interesting. You know, I'm a little bit nervous at the same time excited. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah. When it comes to speeches, I need some sort of a preparation, even if it's just 30 seconds or a minute.
Okay. No, you're 100% right. Some people are so scared of public speaking, they'd rather commit suicide than speak in public. So this is what we're learning to speak in public so we don't lose our cool. Yeah, yeah. So, okay. But
Oh, yeah.
anyway, next time we can do that. But nevertheless, you did speak for a good 20 seconds about something. Okay. So I think with a bit of practice, we'll definitely get into the impromptu speeches. Um, so so just remember, because in the club situation or this chapter situation, there's no judgment. We're all learning. We're all learning together. So we all speak and we try, and the others we giving feedback. not to break us down, but to build us as just to help us to do certain things in a different way and perhaps speaking a little bit better. And that's how we learn. Okay. Yeah. So I think we almost got to the end of the program now. So, okay, the feedback from the timekeeper. Well, I must say the times for we had the elevator speeches and we had these speech. We had some educationals about how the structure works and that. But I think let's just do because we still got some time. We're a little bit ahead of time. Let's do the elevator speeches again, and we can all do it again. I think Carol did hers, but it's a good practice to just do it again. So basically, what an elevator speech is, it's a 30-second speech. So that's all it is. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, "Hi, my name is France, and I'm going to say what business I do and what sort of things I can do and how that can benefit you." And we call it the elevator speech because as you go up in the elevator or the lift, you've got 30 seconds. When the door opens at the top, your time is up. So you have to be able to say to the person that you're going up in the lift with, for example, by the time 30 seconds have gone by and you're about to get out of the lift, that he would say, "Here's my business card, and yeah, call me and we'll set up an appointment." So that's what you do. You're really trying to set up an appointment, get somebody to contact you about something that you do, and that's the 30-second elevator pitch or the elevator speech. Any questions about that? Okay, I think, yeah. Okay, so Charles has put his hands up. Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
Okay, I'm gonna try mine.
Okay, go ahead, yes.
Yes. Okay, let's do this. Okay, how many minutes how many seconds do I have? 30 seconds, am I right?
Yeah, 30 seconds, but you can go a bit over or a bit under. It's not that serious, yeah.
Good day, France. All right. Okay, let me start. Okay, give me 30 I'm starting now. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, no problem. Good hour, good hour, my brother. I'm assuming I don't know the person. So good hour, my brother. Then he responds, my name is Charles. I'm into property development and I sell properties for investment. I hope one day maybe you'll be interested in something like that. There is my business card. Maybe give me a shout. Okay, that's my speech. Quick and out.
Okay, so that was great. Well done to Charles. It's a good elevator speech. Okay, I think that one came in at about 20-25 seconds, so just a little bit under time. But it's good. It had the right elements. You introduced yourself. You told us what you do, and if you want to get properties, you can just contact Charles and take it from there. Okay. So, okay. So, Carol, did you want to give your elevator speech another go?
Okay, I'll do it again. Okay. Hello, I'm Carol. I'm an academic editor. I work for various universities and also work one-on-one with students for academic mentorship to help with the thesis and dissertation. Here we go. Here's my business card. Do give me a call. Bye-bye.
Well
Close.
done. Big hand
No,
to
that was
Carol.
nice.
Yeah, that was very nicely done. Okay. Yeah, I think you came in at under 30 seconds, but that's okay. Okay. And Mondisi, do you want to give your elevator speech?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Mandisi.
Hi.
I run a small website called Clutch Connect, which is an online-based marketplace where business owners, entrepreneurs get to advertise their services, be it plumbing, electrical work, hairstylist, mechanics, IT technicians. They have a platform. I have a platform where they can upload their services and put in detail what is it that they actually do, and then they get bookings like an Uber. So it's more of an Uber-like website app for service providers. You can visit clutchconnect.net for more information. Thanks.
Okay, well done to Mandisi. Yeah, that was a very nice elevator speech. You told your name, what you do, and you had a means of contacting you at the end. So well done. Okay, it was close to 50 seconds, so it's a little bit long, but it was still good. So yeah.
It was very
Okay.
varied also. A lot of detail given in a short time, hey? And it's got a lot of options. Yeah, nice.
It shows you how much detail you can give in 30 seconds. Okay, I'm going to try elevator speech now. I'll say, hello, my name is Frans de Vantier, and I run a little publication called Cup of Tea. Okay, this is a similar one called Coffee News. It's a A3 sheet of paper that folds double. It's a restaurant publication. And the idea is you read the local news, but your eyes get focused on the adverts and you read the adverts. It's very affordable and it's very effective. So if you want to promote something, you can advertise in Cup of Tea. So if you want your ad to receive more views, then advertise in Cup of Tea. If you want your ad to receive more views, then advertise in Cup of Tea. The Master of Ceremonies.
Nice. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so I think that brings us to about the end of our program. Okay, so we were to go to 9 o'clock. It's 20 to 9 now, just after 20 to 9. Yeah, we missed some, we had some speeches which didn't happen and so on. But anyway, so if I had to give the timekeeper's report, but I'd say the times that we had were generally quite good. The impromptu speeches were really nicely within time. As a grammarian, I didn't notice any really bad grammar. And crutch words, there were a few crutch words, ums and ahs, and ish, yeah. I did notice a few crutch words, but not too many, so it wasn't too bad. Okay. So that was quite nicely done. And then if you look at the upcoming events, well, next week, same time, 7:30 to 9 o'clock, we're going to have another meeting. So please make a note of it. And the connections string that you use to connect to the Zoom meeting, that's going to be exactly the same. So you won't have to have any other connection string. And right. And then it's just to thank everybody for joining the meeting. And then, okay, so we use Robert's rules of order to run the meeting, just to simplify things so that we get it done properly. And so without further ado, I declare this meeting closed. Right. Okay. So well done, guys.
Thank you so much. Goodbye to all. Thanks so much, Ron. Bye.